much time because we have talked about AWS CLI in previous videos on my channel as well. So, but I'll do one more brief session on AWS CLI where I tell you very quickly how to use AWS CLI. Because if you know CloudFormation, AWS CLI also somewhere or the other doing the same thing. So we will try to cover it in the same days. Then you have AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So one thing is, I was slightly confused if I have to teach you AWS Elastic Beanstalk here or somewhere down. So this might slightly go here or there. When I'm in a flow, and if I feel that I don't want to get distracted, probably I might put AWS Elastic Beanstalk later, but I'll definitely be covering it. And as part of it, we will learn about a fully managed deployment and scaling point of view, and we will do a very simple project as well with the Elastic Beanstalk. But from day 11, it is going to be getting more and more exciting. I know you people will really love it when I talk about CI/CD. So from day 11 to day 14 is going to be completely dedicated on CI/CD point of view of AWS. So we will be doing a complete CI/CD setup on AWS. Where on day 11 we'll talk about AWS code commit, and we will learn how to use AWS code commit. Day 12, it is going to be AWS code pipeline, and we will do a project again on AWS code pipeline. It's going to be a simple project. Day 13, we will learn about AWS code build, and we will do a project on AWS code build. Day 14, we will talk about AWS code deploy, and we will use AWS code deploy. So till here, you haven't learned about containers or the container services on AWS. So what I'll do is probably on day 14, when we use the code deploy, we will try to deploy it on an EC2 instance, or if I feel that I need to teach you on container services here itself, probably without going into details of ECS or EKS, I might show you how to deploy on EKS or ECS. Without going into details of ECS or EKS, I might show you how to deploy on EKS or ECS. Without going into details of ECS or EKS, I might show you how to deploy on EKS or ECS. Okay, on day 15, we will try to learn about AWS CloudWatch. So we will take a complete drift from the CI/CD services because we have spent 4 days here, day 11, day 12, day 13, and day 14. So from here, we'll be learning about the monitoring. So day 15, AWS CloudWatch. You will understand what is AWS CloudWatch, why is it used, how to create alarms, how to create triggers, events, and collect metrics. All the information related to CloudWatch will be covered in one dedicated video, that is AWS CloudWatch, day 15. And once you learn that, we will learn about AWS Lambda. Mostly, we will try to use this in terms of Python because DevOps engineers mostly use Python. You can also use Go language here, but just to keep it basic, or just to make more people comfortable, we will use Python here, and we will try to understand the concept of serverless computing, and we will try to understand how to use this serverless computing to write serverless functions, trigger them based on events using CloudWatch, and much more things. Day 17 is also going to be same, where we will try to combine AWS CloudWatch and AWS Lambda functions, and we will do a project which will be AWS CloudWatch events and event bridge. So what we will do here is we will try to understand the event-driven architecture. This is very, very important for DevOps engineers. Most of the DevOps engineers use this same use case in their companies. So the project that we will do on day 17, the serverless event-driven workflow, you can definitely talk about this project during your interviews, and you will get a positive feedback about it. Day 18 is going to be about the AWS CloudTrail and the configurations around it. So basically, you will understand how to use the CloudTrail to get the logging related information. So we will use the log API activities, and we'll also see some AWS config rules so that you enforce the compliance rules. So again, day 15, 16, 17, 18 are going to be interrelated. So try to attend all these videos. Do not try to skip one video. You will break the flow of it. So here we are doing a project, and here we are doing a project. Mostly these projects will be very easy to understand, but if you watch the previous videos, then it will be much more connected towards the videos. Okay, so after this, day 19, we will try to understand the AWS DynamoDB. So DynamoDB is very widely used on AWS, where people, DevOps engineers use DynamoDB for Terraform locking mechanism. We use DynamoDB for locking the state file and using it. So apart from that, I'll also show you how to manage the DynamoDB tables, some CRUD operations. If I feel that this is going beyond the understanding of many people, then I'll try to reduce the scope of it, because again, DynamoDB is a very heavy concept, and not everything related to DynamoDB is required for DevOps engineers. So I'll try to talk about the DynamoDB in the scope of DevOps engineering. Then we will learn about AWS ECS. So the more focus would be on AWS EKS. I'll not focus more on AWS ECS. I'll tell you the reason. EKS or Kubernetes is the most widely used container orchestration platform. Like AWS promotes ECS a lot, but in practical use case, if you want to prepare for your interviews, or if you want to, once you join the companies, if you want to be ready for the DevOps job roles, Kubernetes is the thing that will help you a lot. So more than Elastic Container Service, which is AWS service for container orchestration, will focus on the EKS, that is Elastic Kubernetes Service, right? So I'll teach you about the basics of ECS. Probably, I'll talk about a simple project on ECS, but mostly the focus will be on EKS. And whenever we are doing some project, let's say we are deploying applications onto container platforms, container orchestration platforms, that will be EKS only. So that will be your 21-22, where you learn about the container registry and EKS. So after that, we will move ahead and we will try to understand the CloudWatch logs. So if this video here, when I am making this video, if I feel that that is going in the similar lines of CloudWatch that I have talked here, then I will remove this video and I'll add some practical project on day 23. So don't worry about it. Then we'll learn about the AWS Systems Manager. So Systems Manager is used for managing secrets, credentials, API keys. So any DevOps engineer, when they are doing any projects on AWS, definitely you will deal with sensitive information, whether it can be passwords, API tokens, or any other sensitive information. So Systems Manager is very widely used by DevOps engineers, and we will try to learn it in a practical way. Then AWS Autoscaling. So the name itself tells you what is autoscaling. On day 25, we'll learn about this service called autoscaling, which is used to adjust the capacity. Let's say during Christmas or during any peak hours, you want to scale your resources, and once the Christmas is done, you want to remove the resources. Let's say you want to bring it back to the normal state. So in such cases, many companies on AWS, they use autoscaling. So it is very important to learn about autoscaling. What are the different types of scaling AWS support, and how to use autoscaling? What is the effective way? In which scenario you have to use which type of scaling? So these are some of the things that we will learn. Then AWS RDS, which is Relational Database Service. We will try to learn about this as well. Again, RDS has a very big scope. RDS is used by different types of engineers, DevOps, development, QA. I will teach you RDS in the scope of DevOps engineers. AWS Elastic Load Balancer. So here I'll talk about the history of load balancers. I'll tell you what are the different types of load balancers that are available, classic network application load balancer, and I'll talk about the use case of each of these load balancers, then which load balancer is used in which case, application load balancer L7, network load balancer L4. I'll talk about that networking thing, why and how this load balancer will help you. And when we talk about it, of course, we will talk about high availability, fault tolerance, scalability aspect, and all of the things. I think this got repeated. AWS Systems Manager. Where is it? Yeah. So AWS Systems Manager. Probably we'll do another live project here. I don't know how this got repeated. I'll just check one. But on day 29, we will learn about the most interesting thing, and many people will, during the interviews, many people might have faced this interview question. Can you talk about the AWS cloud migration? So in this video, I'll talk about different cloud migration strategies, different tools that are available in the market. I'll tell you right from basics how to answer this interview question. When someone asks you, tell me about cloud migration, how you have achieved the cloud migration. After watching this video, I'll definitely tell you that you will be able to answer this question, and the interviewer will be convinced with the migration strategy that you have that you will tell in the interview. And finally, day 30, we'll talk about the best practices and how to prepare for AWS jobs, what are the other resources, and how you can do more projects on AWS. Apart from all of these things, during each video, whenever I feel that interview questions are required, probably like I told you, there is one thing that got repeated here, systems manager, and another thing that I've noticed is this AWS CloudWatch logs. So let's say if I find any such videos that are less useful, and if I want to add interview questions for the benefit of large audience, so what I'll do is I'll replace this specific day. Right now I found 2 days with AWS interview questions, and using that you can be prepared for AWS DevOps engineering role as well. And one more thing that I was thinking is, let's say you are a beginner on AWS, and the next day I'm going to talk about AWS Container Service or AWS Kubernetes Service. It will not be correct thing to talk right from the containers, right from the zero of containers in a specific video, because that will take a lot of amount of time. So what I'll do is before day or before the starting of the video, I'll share you the resources on my channel where I've done the DevOps Zero to Hero series. For example, I've done 5 to 6 videos on containers, history of containers, how you can learn containers. So before you go on to this specific topic, it is recommended to watch those videos and come back. So in such cases, I'll give you the prior information, or before the video, I'm going to share you all the resources that you should watch before watching this specific video. So please follow this entire series, and whenever I ask you to follow a specific video before you watch a specific day of the video, please also do that so that you will learn AWS practically. Like I told you, my focus is not about teaching a specific certification, getting you ready for a certification, but my focus is to get you ready for job. And we talked about DevOps Zero to Hero. This is AWS Zero to Hero. Overall, it's a complete package of AWS DevOps or any cloud DevOps engineering role, because if you know any cloud, then you can apply for the other cloud. People will understand that not everyone has idea of all the cloud services, and your interview will be on the cloud service that you know the better. So yeah, that's all I have for the video, and like I told you, I keep updating this GitHub page with all the information. So follow this GitHub page, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel and share this video with maximum number of people, so that on 25th, when we start this series, a lot of people have to benefit from this free DevOps AWS Zero to Hero course. Again, thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye. Cloud is called as cloud repatriation. So people initially started with private cloud, moved to public cloud, and some people are coming back to public cloud. Sorry, private cloud. So this is true, but the number of people or the percentage of users who are moving back from public cloud to private cloud is very, very less. It's 1% to 2%, or even less than that. People are moving away from public cloud and starting their own journey of private cloud one more time. And the reason for it is multiple things. One is security. One is they were not ideally getting any cost optimization, and they were not getting a real advantage of moving towards public cloud. So then they have decided that okay, let's move back to private cloud. And I've done a complete video on this. You can go and check my video on cloud repatriation, where I've discussed this thing in very detail. But for now, you don't have to bother about it, because out of 100 percentage, it's only 1% or 2% of people who are moving from cloud platform back to on-premises, and this number, the people who onboard onto public cloud, will keep on growing, because startups and mid-scale people cannot afford data centers. Not in terms of money, but it is also in terms of the entire setup and maintenance. So if someone wants to build their own data center, money is one thing, and the maintenance is the other thing, which are two major factors for them to move towards the public cloud. So, saying all of these things, because from tomorrow we have to learn things on AWS, we will do things live on AWS. So, the first thing that we need to do is to create an account on AWS, right? So, let's get started and create an account on AWS, which we will use for the entire series. Okay, so the first thing that we will do is, let me stop sharing here and share the other screen. go to your favorite browser. You can use any browser, and all that you need to do is search for AWS sign in, right? So you'll find this page called Amazon Web Services sign in. Let me increase the font size. Yeah, I hope you can see this. So here, what you need to do is you need to provide your email address. So you can use the same email address or use a different one. You can create a new email address as well. So for the purpose of video, I just created a new email address so that I can demonstrate it. So this is a new email address, and just keep this as a root user. You will understand what is root user, what is IAM user in the future. But when you create a new account, don't change anything. Just provide the email address. Click on the next button. Oh, sorry. Create new AWS account. My bad. So click on the create new AWS account here, and all that you need to do is provide this root user email address, the email address that you have just created, or if you have one, you can use the same one, and provide any AWS account name. Don't worry, you can change this account name in the future. Let me just say the account name as Abhishek, and you have to do this verify email address or sign in to an existing email of AWS account. Because you don't have existing AWS account, just click on verify email address. Okay, and you will get a verification code to this email address that you have just created. So let me go to that email address and put the verification code. So you can see you will get an email like this, AWS email verification. So click on this one, just copy the verification code and put it here. Click on verify button. So once you do this, then you have verified. Now you can create a password for your AWS account. So yeah, just make sure that the password is very, like you create a very strong password. So let me put some password here. So continue, step 1 out of 5. So yeah, so I did not provide a strong password, so it is asking me to change the path. So what I'll do is I'll create a slightly strong password this time.